Guys, this was going to be a product test and review, but turns out that I can't give you my honest review and feedback on this product because I made one big mistake. But before I tell you what I did, let's backtrack, let's still get into this tutorial, and let's talk about today's brand, which is Brow Code. Brow Code has truly stood the test of time. Brow Code has been around since day one, so I was pretty keen to get my hands on it and give it a try. It is more of a premium product, so the price tag is a little bit higher, but the processing times are so quick that time versus money, it kind of makes up for it. Plus, I do also like that Brow Code has sample sachets where you can literally just buy one sachet of each of the steps to test it out and see how you feel about it. So starting off with the first sachet, step 1, I applied it to Victoria's brows, and because she does have thicker hair at the front, I brushed it down before then brushing it up and lathering it on the brows. Now, I did notice with step 1 and with step 2, I did notice that her brows were absorbing the product really quickly, so I did have to reapply the product, and I didn't realize why at the time, but it's because I forgot to put the cling film on it. All of the brow lamination brands that I typically use don't require cling film, whereas Brow Code does, but I forgot to put it on. So what that has done is slowed down the processing time, but it also means that Victoria's brows are going to absorb the product quicker, and it's going to dry out the brows or the product on the brows, so that is why I had to keep reapplying it. Now, I thought with Victoria's brows that after about 4.5-5 minutes, I would be taking the product off. You can see that I did 2 readiness tests to check if her brows were ready. And even when I did the second one at 7.5 minutes, they still were not ready. And again, this is because I forgot to put the cling film on. At the time, I wasn't overly impressed. Nonetheless, I did decide to take the product off at 7.5 minutes, even though there were a couple of brow hairs that still weren't sitting how they should be or weren't moving how they should be, because it is a new product. I wanted to play on the safe side. Then I went in, did all my mapping and all my hybrid brow sculpt and waxing, and then it was time for step 2. So I opened up step 2 sachet and I applied it the exact same way as I applied step 1. Brush it down on the thicker hairs, then brush it up and all over the rest of the brow hairs, because this is the step that sets their brows in the new direction. I then, with my iridental comb, got in there and brushed them out nicely. Now again, this is where I should have been applying my cling film, but I forgot to. So after the designated amount of time, I took off the product. I did my final little bits and pieces before then applying my oil and concealing and carving out the brows. And you can see right before I put the oil on, the brows are definitely laminated. They've definitely lifted, but they don't have that silky, soft, hydrated lamination look that we should have. And again, I wasn't totally impressed, but now I know it's because I forgot to put the cling film on. I've essentially actually under-processed Victoria's brows. And while that's a hell of a lot better than over-processing her brows, it means that her lamination isn't going to last as long as it should. And also, because I didn't put the cling film on Victoria's brows, the product didn't stay moist, which means if I didn't notice that her brows were absorbing the product and I didn't apply more, we could have also ended up with a really patchy, uneven brow lamination, or even those hairs sitting up and off Victoria's face rather than sitting back on her face like they should. All in all, now that I know that I made that mistake, I'm pretty impressed with Brow Code, but I can't really give an honest review at this stage because I need to do it again and I need to follow the steps correctly and apply the cling film. So stay tuned. I will be using Brow Code again in the future. I'm very excited to see how I go when I finally use the products correctly. And also, big bonus, Brow Code doesn't have that lamination smell. And if you know what I mean, then you definitely know what I'm talking about.